Expanding my screen here. There's the message. Got a couple of minutes of giving people a minute or two to log in. Got some iced coffee going here. Some caffeine. Hope y'all were enjoying the Post Malone. Any posties out there? Yeah, Johnny likes it. That's the F1 Trillion music. If you haven't checked it out, I love every bit of it. Oh, a little bit there. Got one more minute, giving people time to mosey in. They're hanging out in the digital hallway there. We'll get to getting. Get those beverages, get those snacks. We got a bit to talk about. Make sure I got the right chapter popped up here. Da, 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 da. 1 second. Yep, I've got the right one. I wanted to make sure I had the right one. All right, it is 6 o'clock. We are going to get to getting. We got a lot of ground to cover. And of course, hello, Stephen. How's it going? All right. So first of all, I don't want the day to go by without mentioning it is a somber day. It is a day of reflection. It is, of course, 9/11, a very historic day, not a day that we want to forget. And so I do want to remember it. It's a day I know I won't forget. I did have coworkers that went to a very important meeting that day in one of those towers. And of course, um, they did not return from that meeting. So it's a day that touched so many, and we want to remember that. We want to remember those people, all aspects of it, the workers, the firemen, the police, everybody that was involved. But we also want to take time to remember that we pulled together and we move forward. We build, we grow. We don't let that stop us. We always move forward. We always conquer. That's something that we have always done. And that's something that we will always do. And you are part of that. You're part of that workforce. You're part of that American fabric. And when I say American fabric, I don't care where you may have originated from, where you may go to. You are here and you are part of that American fabric, that workforce, that community, that one entity. We are one, we are united, and we work together. And that is what makes us incredible and united. So I want you to think about every career here. The electricians help the welders put things together because without the electric, we wouldn't have the lights to see what we're doing, run some of our equipment. The same for the medical team. They wouldn't be able to do what they're doing. The medical team helps the people who do the welding, the electrical, and the HVAC when they're ill. Um, the HVAC people keep us cool in the buildings and where we work. The welders are the ones who put up the buildings and where we work. So we all work together. We all pull together. I want you to see how we are interconnected and we are so much more alike in everything that we do. And we have to pull together in that. So that is my bit about 9/11. And I want us to move on. But I want you to think about how all our careers intertwine when we think that we are so distant and different from each other. All right? Everybody got that? That's my little spiel about that. And we will move forward. And so let's get to getting, because I got a bit to cover. And we're going to be talking about preparing for the interview. And so those of you who haven't noticed my friends behind me there, that's what it's like in an interview. Ever feel like the people in the interview are just staring at you like that, kind of goofy, like, what is this person in front of me? Ever get that opinion that they're just kind of staring at you like you're some sort of specimen, some sort of bug in a jar, and you don't feel real comfortable about it? Anybody not feel real comfortable in an interview? I know I don't particularly care for them. And so I'm going to hopefully give you some information. I want you to turn that around. You are going to be in control. How many people want to be in control? You want to be Janet Jackson. Well, you don't want to look like her necessarily. I mean, we can't all walk around looking like that. I know she wears some heels and I fall off of my bare feet. So you don't want to see me trying to look like Janet Jackson. Okay. That's not what I mean. But she had an album called Control. You need to be in control. How many of you would like to walk into that interview and be the one in control? Anybody out there? Think, think, think. Do you want to be the one in control? Okay, is Johnny the only one on here? Where's my other peeps? All right, Giovanni woke up and says, there you go. You want to be the one in control. Okay, and that's what we're going to talk about. So here we go. I'm going to do some sharing. Da, 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 da. And I'm going to do some screen share. And we are going to view this as a student. The reason why I do that is I have more stuff on my screen and I don't want to confuse anybody. Okay, now you'll notice right here, I want to bring this up. Attendance, class at 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday, assignment due at 10 p.m. What that means is there is a daily assignment that goes along. That question at the end of the live class, I want to make sure everybody realize you have to make sure you get that in the right spot. So tonight we are in Wednesday. Here's where that assignment goes, right here. You click on that, click Start Assignment, and then right there, text entry. This is where you're going to put that, okay? If you go through the modules, some people like to go through the modules, you're going to go down into week 2, and you're going to find Wednesday right there, live conference participation assignment. When you click on that, look, you come to the same place. You'll say Start Assignment, text entry, type it there. Those are the 2 ways you can get in there, okay? But please make sure you get that in there because if you don't, then I don't see the assignment. You get marked absence. It doesn't matter how many other assignments you do, those daily attendance assignments, that is what determines you getting attendance. Okay, so now I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Tomorrow, we're going to have a little bit of a live conference. It's going to be very different. We're going to have a guest speaker here. I want you to ask questions. I'm going to ask them questions, but I want you to ask questions that you may have about what it's like coming out of being a student and going into your career. He did that. He went to a trade school. He did what you're going to be doing. It doesn't matter that it's a different career because the process is very much the same. He also does a lot of interviews, so you can ask questions also there. If you haven't done so already, go in tomorrow. Make sure you get that resume in here. Click Start Assignment. Right there, that's where you upload it, or you can use the webcam to take a picture. If you absolutely cannot figure out how to do that, email that to me. Don't text it because that text number does not allow for pictures. So please email it to me. All right. Okay, make sure you get that to me. Okay, and then of course that midterm exam. If I go in here, you're going to click on Take Exam. Now don't do this till you're ready because you only get one chance at that midterm. So if you go in and think you're going to just look around, you've used your one chance. So don't do it until you are ready and you need to do it from start to finish. It's 25 questions, all right? And there's no time limit, but don't walk away because if your screen times out and it kicks you out, that's your one chance at this. Okay. Sometimes you will get a short answer that you need to type in here, but the majority of them should be multiple choice. Okay. There should be very few of those where you need to fill in the blanks. We tried to get rid of as many of the fill in the blanks. Again, these are all multiple choice here. All right. So this one here, we've got a few of them. Nobody's going to get the same set of questions. Okay. It's random, but I'm here to help you out. I want to make sure you do good. Come here, look for this big red help button. Click it. Okay. When you click that right here, midterm study guide. Whoops. Midterm study guide. Click on that or see this little down arrow. If you click on that, it's going to download it for you. It's going to ask you where you want it on your system. Click save and you can download that. You can have that right there so that you can review it. It's a PDF. So any device can open this and you can take a look. You can have that with you while you do that midterm. It's open book. You can help each other out. But whatever you do, don't say, what did you get for answer number 3? Because your answer number 3 might be different than your friend's answer number 3 because you have different questions. All right. Everybody good on those assignments? Yes, yes. We're all good? All right. Okay. So now that just leaves this one, this informational interview. You talk to people. These were the people that you gave me last week that you said you were going to talk to. This is where you bring that information back. You talk to them, or you should have talked to them by now. Come in here, click text entry. Tell me what you found out about your career from these people. Tell me what you found out. Make sure you list the name of the person and where they worked or how they affect your career or how they're related to your career. And, let me know, okay, what you found out. What did you learn about your career? What insights, what did you ask them? Just list everything that you found out, and you'll easily hit that 250-word summary requirement. All right? Type it all in here, or if you did it as a Word document, click File, Upload, say Upload File, and then choose File, and you'll find it on your system, and then boom, upload it. Okay, so if I found my file, I would say open and it would upload it. Okay, right there, it would show up here and I'd say submit, and that's how I would do that. All right, so that's how you get that in there. Hopefully you found out really incredible things from the person you talked to. If not, talk to them again, find out what you needed to do. Now, you'll notice everything in this class is about you. You should not be going out to the internet and Googling things, okay? Now, I asked y'all to do your brand statements. Your brand statements, you all aced that. You did incredible. So I want y'all to give yourselves a round of applause because, no joke, this class did the brand statement better than any class. I always dread that assignment because people will not put forth the effort. You guys you understood the assignment. You heard the phrase, they understood the assignment. You really did. I have been so impressed with what y'all did. It's amazing. Now, I put some notes on some people's on ways you could tweak that. That's advice I want you to take a look at because you still have to have this up to you. Okay, it's got to fit you. You are the ones who have to say these things. It's got to be meaningful to you. Don't Google what your statement should be. And the same thing for that elevator pitch. You all did incredible because you told your story. If you Googled it to see what it should be, wrong. That's the only way it can be wrong because it's got to be your story, your skills, what you bring. That's how you do that. Okay? So give yourselves another round of applause if that's what you did because you impressed me. And I let your DOEs know that this is a class to watch out for. These are the ones that are going to set the world on fire. Keep up that quality. Remember when I told you you have a brand? How many people remember that? You are your brand. Remember that? Your brand is your quality, your ethics, your aptitudes, etc. You're setting your brand's level high. If you don't put forth that effort, your brand isn't worth anything. Okay? Do you want to be Lamborghini or do you want to be Dollar Tree? Right now, you guys are Lamborghinis, okay? I like that. I like shiny, fast cars, okay? Dollar Tree, I go in there when I need cheap supplies, okay? I'm not blowing smoke. I told you I'm as honest as I am ugly. If you guys aren't doing it, I'm not going to lie to you because then you're going to get out and you're going to walk into an interview, etc., and you're going to you're going to crash. And that doesn't help you out. And I'm here to help y'all. So, all right. So I want to give you those good thoughts because if you did the assignments, you got the feedback. I wanted y'all to know. It's a great job. All right. So here we go. We're going to jump into this lecture and you're going to be so excited because we are going to talk about preparing for the interview. Dun, dun, dun. So I'm getting my pencil ready. Trying my little smiley face, working with green tonight because green's money. Anybody out there like money? One person does, two people do. Oh, yeah, there they go. Money, money changes everything. Don't I have a good singing voice? Anybody who doesn't agree fails the class. So I have a great singing voice. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we're going to talk about types of job interviews because there's different types, sources of information for conducting research about an employer because you need to research where you're going to interview. And we're going to talk about in-person interviews with virtual interviews and types of questions and questions that you may ask and ways to prepare. Okay, so we got a lot. Okay, so at some point in the application process, you're going to be invited to a job interview. You will be, okay? And it's this point is they're going to ask about details on your resume and assess you as a potential employee. And it will come either as a phone call or an email. All right? So it's going to come as one or the other. Okay? So you have a professional email address. You need to be checking that daily. Okay? You need to be checking that daily. If you're putting in application, I recommend checking it multiple times during the day because you need to know as soon as something comes in and respond quickly. Okay? Now, if you're applying and you see phone calls come in from unknown numbers, you might want to consider answering those because they could be potential people hiring or wanting to possibly interview. And when you pick up that phone call, don't go, who dat? Okay? Who dat is not the proper way to answer a phone call. Got that? You need to say, whom am I speaking with? You need to be polite and pleasant. Then if you find out they're trying to get you to buy more insurance coverage for your car, for your repairs, etc., then you can be rude. All right. But don't pick up the call and go, who dat when you're out there applying, because you don't want that to be the first impression on a potential employer. So be polite, express interest during a phone call. Ask for any details. Make sure you know the time and the place. Confirm everything and the name of the person. You'd be surprised how many people don't know the name of the person they're going to talk to. And then when they get there, they find out the building is huge and the person in the lobby goes, who are you going to be meeting with? And you don't know. So they don't know where to tell you to go. Make sure you bring any documents in addition to your resume. Make sure you have your driver's license. Make sure you have social security cards, things like this, just in case. What if everything goes extremely well and they want to hire you on the spot? Always be prepared. With your resume, how many copies are you going to have? Anybody? How many copies are you going to bring? How many?
At least two.
Two? Okay. I recommend 5 because you could walk in and it could be a group interview and you want to bring a copy for everybody. Okay? It's not going to hurt you to have multiple copies. They're easy to produce. So at least 2. 2 is a good answer. That way in case there's 2 people, but more is easy to do. Okay? So that's a good idea. 2 or more, perfect. So you have a good answer there. And make sure that you keep everything together. Never ever staple anything. Okay? No, 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 no. Don't staple it. You can put it together with a paper clip if you have multiple pages, but don't staple things, okay? That you never do. Okay? So bring that references, make sure you have that reference sheet. If you have any certifications, make sure you have copies of those, again, attached with that paper clip so they have everything there. They don't have to ask you for those things. If you have any pictures of any work that you want to show, make sure there's copies available, etc. Okay. And since this is the digital age, make sure you have those available so that you can email them as well. All right. Respond immediately to any emails. Okay. And make sure when you're communicating, you use proper punctuation. This is not texting. So uppercase, lowercase, periods, exclamation marks, etc. And make sure you confirm all interview details. So when they tell you you need to be at this building this time and speak to so and so, repeat that back to them. So I have the details as follows. I'm going to speak with so and so at this location at this time. Confirm everything. All right. Now, uh, there's 3 different types of interview. Now, this is definitely midterm questions right here. The screening interview, structured interviews, and unstructured interviews. Screening interviews, these are preliminary. They're very informal and they just want to make sure that your skills are good enough to make it into the real interviews. So these are brief. They're going to ask you about your skills, experience, and availability. Usually this is what a recruiter or the hiring manager might do through a phone call, email, or video conference. You've had them call. They're basically looking at your resume. They're verifying information on it. Okay. They're going to do this to narrow it down. They may pull out 100 people, and by the time they go through it, they might narrow it down to 25, 50 people, etc. Then what they're going to do there, once they do that, then they're going to start calling people in for another type of interview. One would be a structured interview. Now, this is a formal interview, and every candidate's going to get the same list of questions. This is also called a directive interview. So if you hear this term, it's the same thing. The reason why everyone gets the exact same questions is so they can compare them. Okay. And these can be general or very specific questions, but a structured interview, everyone is getting the same questions. Now, those are starting to go away, and most likely you're going to get an unstructured interview. These are less formal and they sound more like a conversation. They want you to be more relaxed. They want you to give more of your personality in the interview process. Everybody's not going to get the same set of questions. And one person's interview could be longer than the others as they get to know you. They might get a better vibe with you. Or if they don't feel like it's becoming beneficial, they might cut the interview short. This is unstructured. Okay. Everybody understand the difference between structured and unstructured? All right. Now, how many people research a place before you apply? You research it before you apply. This is very, very important. Okay. You want to check, do they have a website? Search them out. Check for network. Check their product sizes. Check to see how they're doing. Are they growing? Are their economically, are their sales down? Check to see who their competitors are. Do they have any? The reason being is a company that you go to work for, they might not be doing so well. Do they have legal problems? Because if they start to run into problems, you may work for them for 2 weeks and then find out they can't pay you. And you want that money. Okay. The other thing, if you go to their website and they don't, or they have quite a few misspellings on there, and they don't have a street address. Okay. Not having a street address somewhere, that's a red flag. That's not a legit company. Something is wrong. If they do not have a home office street address somewhere, what that means is they're kind of like a fly-by-night company. Typically, what they're doing is they're hiring people, they get them to come in, they do work, and then they never pay them. Has anybody had this happen to you? I've had this happen to students in past classes. You go to work for a company? Okay. I am so sorry, Giovanni. You do legitimate work and then they don't pay you. Research beforehand. Okay, very, very important. Also, what about a company's values? What if you find out that they don't have the same values as you? You go to work and they don't want you to, or they believe in something different than you. I interviewed at a vet office and I found out that they had mandatory requirement that you had to go to church with everybody in that veterinary office. It was required, which is illegal, but it was required. You would be fired if you did not go to church with them. So that was a no-no. And they didn't appreciate me turning them into the state either. Oh well, too bad for them. Okay, now remember those llamas I told you? During the job interview, you are the focus. All eyes on you. Okay. And they're going to ask you questions to uncover information about you. It's all about you. They want to know about you. And it's your opportunity to shine. Okay. And the focus needs to be on skills and abilities. Okay. But some companies, they don't only do face to face interviews. Okay. Now, when you do, and these are going to be on the midterm, so I want you to think about these as well. In person, everybody's in the same location. Makes sense. In person, the candidates are usually invited to the office, but they may handle it outside the office. They may have you go to, say, a lot of places hold their interviews, say, at a hotel where they rent like a meeting room, things like that. And the reason why they do that is they may not want all the employees to know who they're interviewing. They want privacy, but they meet with you face to face. Part of that is they want to check out the appearance, how you show up, your professionalism. They want to read your body language. They're watching your eyes because that's going to give away if you're telling the truth. So when you're interviewing, look at the person not directly in the eyes, but look right above their eyebrows, literally where their eyebrows are, just a little bit above it. Okay? What that's going to do is that's going to give them the impression that you're looking them square in the eyes. Okay? So remember that. That will keep you from having to look them square in the eyes and relieve some of the stress. So look at a person's face just right above their eyebrows, gives them the impression that you're looking them straight in the eyes. How many people go to concerts and shows? Anybody ever go to a concert or a show? And you know how the singer's up there and they're singing and everybody's going, oh my gosh, they look straight at me and sang to me and that. Hate to burst your bubble, but no, they did not. They looked at your forehead. They never look you straight in the eye. They look at your forehead. They are not madly in love with you. They're not singing to you. They're singing at everybody's forehead, if they can even see you at all because of the lights. Yeah, too bad. It's not love. It's a way to get you to spend more money. But in the interview, give them that attention they want. Look them right in the eyebrows, but it will relieve stress from you so you don't have to look them directly in the eye. All right? So that's a great way of helping you out in that face to face. Now, a panel interview is an in person interview. Okay, you're still in person, but you have more than one person interviewing you at the same time. Anybody ever do a panel interview? You go in expecting one person, but there may be 5 or 6 people in that room, and they all get to ask you questions. Okay, Joanne? Uh-huh. Anybody else? Okay, the purpose of this is they want to see how you're going to work with the team. So they may have the whole team in there. So they get to watch you. So now you're being scrutinized. They're watching your body language, your facial expressions, and that. When you're doing this, anytime somebody asks you a question, you focus on that person, ignoring everybody else. And again, look them right above the eyebrows. Anytime you're in a panel interview, it's a one-on-one interview with whoever is speaking. Forget the crowd. Do not let that intimidate you. You're still one-on-one with whoever is speaking at the time. Okay? So it's nice to know how many people will be involved, but it doesn't matter. You're still going to handle it the same way. So make sure, though, when you leave, you know the names of everybody in there. Ask them for them, write them down because you're going to thank them. We're going to skip over that. Normally, I do this in 2 parts. Okay, so when you do an in-person interview, 15 minutes before appointment time, make sure you're there. Think about traffic, weather, delay factors, anything like that. Know where it's going to be. Make sure you have confirmed the location, the building, know about where you're going to have to park, if you're going to have to pay, if you need a pass. Know when you go into the building who to ask for. Okay, make sure the person you're going to interview with, you have their phone number or way to contact them in case you can't get to them. Okay, make sure you understand their visitor protocol. Okay, and make sure, like I said, visitor pass, parking, etc. All right. Now, virtual interviews. Anybody doing virtual interviews? Have you done one of those yet? Okay, Johan has. Okay, some advantages. You don't have to commute. Disadvantage, you can have a problem. You can't connect right. So before the virtual interview, make sure you have everything that you need. Anything to connect, make sure you have your device, your camera, your microphone, everything. You know how to connect. Just like with this class, you are ready, but you're going to have to be able to talk. You're going to have to be able to be seen. So don't be shy. Okay. Make sure you have already sent the interviewer your resume, portfolio, anything that you need to send to them, they have. Now, telephone interviews. Now, sometimes they will call you or you have to call there. Again, we used to make people have a mirror by their phones at the offices where I work, and it said smile. They can hear it in your voice. And there's a reason for that. If I don't smile when I'm presenting this class, the class sounds like this. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I want to go through everything in the class today. Now, if I smile when I'm talking, the class is presented in a much more pleasant way. Smiling automatically makes you project more and add emphasis in different parts of the sentence. So, this is why when you are doing a telephone interview, you want to impress the person on the phone, smile when you're speaking. And I want you to practice doing that because it will just come across better. Okay? Treat it the same as face to face. Okay? Don't look like a slob when you're on the phone just because you're going to come across as a slob. You're not automatically not going to care as much. You're going to feel like it's less important. Have your materials at hand. Have a copy of the resume so you can go answer questions if they ask about it. Take notes with pen and paper and make sure your background around you is quiet. Okay? I have parrots. My birds scream. I have to make sure they are quiet when I'm doing things. Okay? Video interview. Same thing, just like a phone interview. Make sure your background doesn't have anything that shouldn't be in that background. Make sure that room area is clean. Okay? Some of us have things in our rooms, etc., that you may not want to have an employer see. You know what those things are? Keep them hidden, okay? Make sure you have the right software. Now, there's different types of questions you're going to be asked: general, behavioral, and stress. You may not have realized that they break down like that. So these are the questions. General are just aimed at gathering facts, okay? What can you tell me about yourself? What jobs have you held? What interested you the most about this position? Okay. Why do you want to work for this company? This is why you research companies. Because don't say, I want money. Tell them, I've researched your company and I've seen the quality products they put out and I want to be a part of it. Okay. What is your major strength? Tell them. Now, how many people hate the question, what is your biggest weakness? Anybody hate that question? Only one person? Two people. Okay. Yeah, everybody hates that question. What is your biggest weakness? One of the things I tell people, I am too devoted to my job and sometimes I want to give too much of myself. Isn't that nice? That tells them I want to give more to my job than I probably should. Yeah, that's a kind of a suck up response, isn't it? Think about what is a big weakness. Sometimes you do too much. That is a weakness. So think about it. A weakness can actually be a strength to a fault. Everybody does have a weakness. Telling somebody what your weakness is does not mean you're not going to get the job. Telling somebody I don't have a weakness will guarantee you will not get the job. Okay? Because now you have too much ego. All right? Behavioral questions. Now, these are different. Describe a time when you missed the opportunity to provide the best possible service. Okay? Or describe a situation where you need to be creative. These draw on your individual previous experience and decisions. Now, when you're in an interview, you should be able to draw on past experiences that you've had, even if it's not directly related to this job. Okay, a time when you missed opportunity to provide your best possible service. I was working in the vet clinic. I was waiting on a client who needed help with a special diet for their pet. Another client came in. Instead of telling the first client, please wait one moment while I take a second to assist this one, and walked over and say, I will be with you in just a moment and go back to the first client. I continue to just help the first client. I could have handled both at the same time by doing this, and I did not. That's how I would have changed and been more successful. So see, there are always ways to look at things. We can always improve. Stress questions. Stress questions are just there to see how you're going to react under pressure. That's the whole point. They want to stress you out. That is their purpose. Okay. Now, I want you to look at these because these are going to be on the midterm and people get them wrong. Okay. These two types, hypothetical and blue sky. Has anybody ever heard of a blue sky item? Anybody heard of a blue sky item? Okay, so let's talk about that. So hypothetical, these are imagined situations. Okay, so it's imagined. So they're going to say, let's say such and such happened. Okay, and they want to know how you're going to react to it. A blue sky question, these are questions where they describe a scenario that's not related to your job duties at all. Okay, so let's say you're a welder and they say, let's say you're driving down the road and a boulder comes out. Okay, that is a blue sky question. Driving down the road and a boulder has nothing to do with your question or your career. It's a question to find out how you would react in a situation that has nothing to do with your job. Whereas a hypothetical question would be, let's say you're welding and a metal beam falls on the piece that you're working on. The hypothetical question is an imagined situation that is job based and how you might react to that. Blue sky has nothing to do with your actual job related duties. Do you understand the difference between them? And the reason why they call it blue sky, it's like out of the clear blue sky. Okay? It's a weird thing. Not quite sure how it ended up at this course, but that's where it is. Now, there are illegal questions, and a bad interviewer will ask you about them. They cannot ask you about your age, any disabilities, ethnicity or national origin. They cannot ask you your gender, if you're married or not, or your family status, or your religion. If they do, you can tell them you don't want to answer those. Okay. Now, some of these may sound silly. Okay. So, how do they go about it? They do things because they're tricky. They'll ask you, when did you graduate from high school? They do that because they could get an age approximation. Okay. Disabilities, physical disabilities, they might be able to see that, but they cannot necessarily ask you about them. Ethnicity or national origins, they may look at you and make assumptions. Again, illegal. Gender, they can make assumptions, but they cannot directly ask you. Okay? Family status, they cannot ask you. But let me tell you, I worked for ADP. ADP, many of you may see on your paychecks, and it says processed through ADP or paid by ADP. They're the payroll people. They process paychecks for thousands and thousands of companies. They pay more than anybody other than the federal government. Okay. So, in talking with people in the payroll area on that, they said when they interview people, they will have pictures on their desk with children. And people come in for interviews and they go, "Oh, you have a daughter too." I have a daughter. Okay. You just told them you have children. So they go, you have children, you're going to miss more work than somebody who doesn't have children because children tend to get sick and they won't hire you. Has anybody ever heard of this? Pretty sneaky. Okay. That is a way that they find things out. Do not overshare information. Another thing, how many people have ever heard the interviewer say, I'll walk you out to your car? Has anybody ever had this? I'll walk you out to your car. Yeah. One thing, they want to check out to see your transportation. Does it look reliable? Does it look dependable? Does it look like you'll be able to get to work? The other thing they're doing, does it have a child seat in that car? Again, are they going to miss work because they have to take their kid to doctor's appointments, to baseball games, to this, to that? Again, these people are not necessarily your friend because they're not necessarily the person you're going to be working for. The person doing the interviewer is not always the person you're going to be working directly with. These things are not always, these people are not always on your best interest. How many people ask the person doing the interview questions? Anybody ask questions during the interview? All right, good job. Anybody else? Okay, Caitlin. Always ask questions. Always. Make it a point every interview you ask questions. It shows you are interested in them. So prepare a list prior, always. Who am I going to report to? Okay. This is telling them I'm going to be work here. Okay. So I always ask them, when I start, who will I be reporting to? Notice how I phrase that? When I start. I'm telling you I'm going to work here. That phrase, when I start, that's telling you when I start. What are my working hours going to be? And here it says, what are the working hours? I'm telling you, what are my working hours going to be? Describe the company culture and how it will foster collaboration and teamwork with me and the other employees. See how I'm throwing myself in there? Does everybody see that? I'm including me in every one of these. Why am I doing that? Does anybody want to take a jab at that? Why am I including me in every one of those sentences? Anybody want to guess at that? No? By including me in every one of those sentences, I'm actually telling that interviewer, you're hiring me. Subliminally, I'm telling them, you're hiring me. My next one, how will the company support my professional development and career growth? See how I changed that sentence? How will it support my professional development and career growth? I'm telling you, you are hiring me, and how will you develop me? How will the company measure my success, and what metrics will be used to evaluate my performance? See how I'm changing the narrative on this employer? I'm telling this employer, you will hire me. Okay? Because I want you to remember this. When you walk into that interview, change your thinking. Who is in control? Who wants to guess on the interview? Who is in control of the interview? Somebody shout it out. Who is in control of the interview?
We are.
We are. When you're walking in, you're going to go through this interview and you decide if that company is right for you. You're there to decide if they are right for you. When you start to think that way, you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. You need to find out what they have to offer. Okay? So this is what they're going to do. Now, if they like you and you like them, they're going to provide things. They're going to offer you money. They're going to offer you hours, things like that. So there are things, though, that you do not ask. You never ask, what is the salary? No. What if they ask you, how much do you want? Do you give them a dollar amount? Never. You never tell them. You tell them, I expect to be paid what a person in my position should be paid for my experience and my education. And I expect to have the proper, everything else, your vacation, etc., all those benefits as well. And when they give you an amount, say, and when they tell you what benefits, you say, and they will give you more. And you say, and I know you all are probably thinking I have two heads, but it's true. If you give them a salary amount, what if it's lower than what they were willing to pay? You're stuck. Not everybody in your career, this is different, will be paid the same amount. You will be side by side with people working and you will all be paid different amounts doing the same work. Your salary negotiation is up to you. Okay? Benefits can be negotiated to a point. Okay? So learn the word and. When people offer you things, say and. If something goes wrong and you're in a store and they offer you, say, a gift card to make it up, say and. It's an incredible thing. You'll be surprised how far it gets you. Don't demand things, just say and they will give you things. It's an amazing word. Practice it. I don't lie. Okay? Don't ask what is the salary. Okay? Do not ask how many other candidates will you interview. Don't ask, may I come back? Don't ask what do you think about your interview. And don't ask, are you going to hire me? Those questions are no, do not. Practice, okay? Practice. Practice in front of a mirror is what they used to tell you. Practice with your phone. Record yourself. See what you're going to do. Ask somebody to interview you. We do the mock interviews so you will get real feedback, okay? Think about questions you can ask, you know? Think about what you really want to find out. Investigate these companies, okay? Check them out. The night before the interview, make sure your clothes are all ready to go. So there's no question. Make sure everything you need for the interview is in a bag right by the door. You have your route ready to go and get plenty of sleep. You are ready. Has everybody got that? Are there any questions about this interview preparation? Okay. We're all good? Okay. So now you are ready. You're going out the door. This is it. Now, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about companies you want to work for. Okay. And this is a serious thing because there's more to working for a company than money. I know we all need money. Don't get me wrong. I know you have to pay for this, pay for that, pay. Trust me. And it seems like there's never enough money. But I want you to think about this. Name 3 things you're looking for in a company in your career, but do not list money. Things you need from a company. And trust me, there are way more than 3 things you need from them besides money. Money's going to be there. Money's going to come. Don't worry, that's going to come. I know we all worry about it, but trust me, the money will come. So think about 3 things you need out of that company besides money. All right? And that's what you're going to do for tonight. Okay, so I want you to think about that. Yes, that's very, very important because money is great, but it's going to take more from that company than money to make you happy. And I worked for a number of years. This is honest. I made good money, stupid good money. Okay. And this is gonna sound really bad, and it's not boasting. I can't was coming home. I passed a car lot and I was making really good money, but I was spending it so fast because I had no home life because I worked so many hours. I was passing a car lot and I saw a car on the lot. I called the dealer and I told them to deliver it to my house. I bought it, never driving it, never doing anything, paid cash for the car. I drove it like 4 or 5 times and then I sold it just because I could, because I was so unhappy. I was making money in a job I hated, a job that just required lots and lots of time, and I had no life. I gave up that large amount of money, went to a job that paid far less, but I actually ended up with a personal life, and it was one of the best things I did. I couldn't believe how much better it was having less money and a real life. So I will tell you that having a large amount of money is not the answer. So think about careers, what you want out of that, and put those in perspective because balance is everything. That was way out of balance. Balance things. So think about what you're looking for in those jobs, in those careers, and put that down and think smart because I didn't back then. I thought, oh, money, 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 money. And it wasn't. All right. Learn from my mistakes. Trust me, I made a lot of them. All right. So, any questions? Are we all good? We're all good. All right. Go back through your assignments
We
for the
all
week.
good.
What's that? Any questions? Okay. Go back through the week, see if you have any missing assignments, catch those up. It's midterm week. That means on Monday, all the DOEs are going to be checking everybody's grades. So make sure you're caught up on everything. And y'all have a great evening. And I will see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. All right. Thank you.